The middle truth. Theravada Buddhism was described above as the middle way, Majjhima Patipada, between the extremes for lust for sensual pleasures and self-mortification. Theravada Buddhism also teaches the middle truth, Majjhena Dhamma Desana, between various extremes in thinking. Dependent origination in this middle truth. It is the truth in the middle of extremes, in the sense of being neutral, neither one extreme nor the other extreme, and impartial, not taking one side or the other. Dependent origination takes the middle road. It does not pay attention to the opposing extremes, because they are not helpful in dealing with the problem of how suffering comes to be and how it is possible to get rid of it. Dependent origination holds true in every case without or ever having to pick one extreme view instead of the other. We see for ourselves that it is true. We have insight into the process by which suffering comes about and by which it can be gotten rid of. Examples may be given of how dependent origination is the middle truth between extreme views. 1. The Buddha, speaking about one pair of extremes, says to Malunkaya Putta in the Kula Malunkaya Sutta, whether there is the view the world is eternal, or the view the world is not eternal. There is birth, there is aging, there is death. There are sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair, the destruction of which I prescribe here and now. This pair of extremes, the world is eternal, the world is not eternal, is one of the pairs of antinomies, pairs of contradictory principles. 2. We have seen how karma produces certain non-karma effects. Karma does not produce more karma. Thus, dependent origination with its karma cause and karma effect within the framework of conditionality does not teach some kind of fatalism or determinism. Neither does it contain any kind of teaching about an unconditioned free will. Karma acts by body, speech, or mind following volition, is indeed a condition for consciousness. Name and form, the six sense basis, impression and feeling. Karma, however, is a conditional step within the whole process of dependent origination. It is not completely free. So dependent origination is the middle truth between the extremes of fatalism and determinism on the one hand, and the unconditional free will on the other hand. 3. Dependent origination is the middle truth between the extremes of eternalism, belief that an eternal self or soul continues after death, and annihilationism, belief that a self becomes nothing at death. Dependent origination is a process that does not involve a self. It is a process in which the steps, states, or phenomena are related to one another conditionally. So it can take the middle road between these two extremes. 4. Because dependent origination is not a teaching about transmigration, rebirth is a process that does not involve a choice between belief in a self that transmigrates to another life and belief in a self that ends at death. Rebirth, more exactly, the cause and effect relationship between one combination, members of all the aggregates in this life, and another combination in the next life, is a middle truth. This is a process that involves no self. This opposition between a transmigrating self and a dead self is one kind of annihilation belief versus eternity belief. 5. Dependent origination is the middle truth between the extreme ideas of a vital principle, jiva soul, identical with the body, versus a vital principle different from the body. This opposition is also another kind of annihilation belief versus eternity belief. 6. Dependent origination is the middle truth between extreme views about the nature of real things. All things really exist versus all things do not really exist. Whether things really exist or not, dependent origination is true. The following table then summarizes the examples of how dependent origination is the middle truth between extreme views in thinking. I'll skip over the table. Okay, the sections that follow. Okay, I'll go over it. Extreme view 1. The world is eternal. 2. Fatalism and determinism. 3. Eternalism. Eternal self or soul continues after death. 4. Belief in transmigration of a self to another life. 5. Soul, jiva, life, vital principle, the same as the body. 6. All things really exist. Extreme realism. Middle truth. With the extreme views being set aside, it is clear that ignorance conditions mental formations, which condition consciousness, which conditions name and form, which condition the sixth sense basis, which condition impressions, which conditions feeling, which conditions craving, which condition clinging, which conditions becoming, which conditions rebirth, which conditions old age and death, and the whole of suffering. An extreme view. 1. The world is not eternal, it is finite, has a limit. 2. Unconditional free will. 3. Annihilationism, self becomes nothing at death. 4. Belief in a self that ends at death. 5. Soul, different from the body. 6. All things do not really exist. Nihilism. The section that follow below then are directly concerned with what is needed to reach the perfect happiness and peace of enlightenment, the end of all suffering. First, the divine abodes are considered, then the 10 perfections leading to enlightenment. The section looks at the 2 kinds of meditation, concentration meditation and insight meditation. Section 14 or 15 is about the jhana states, which are trance states that can be used to prepare us for enlightenment. The following section deals with the 4 steps of the holy ones on the way to enlightenment. Stream enterer, once returner, non-returner, the enlightened one. Section 17 is concerned with enlightenment itself, the complete freedom from the defilements, from suffering, and from the cycle of rebirth.